Just wanted her to know that if she's not doing anything to September 12th of next year, meet me at Publix bathroom. We'll have a eulogy, and then we'll resurrect marriage. Beatrice. That's for Beatrice.
Let's get back to the topic at hand, shall we?
You want to talk about Beatrice?
We've talked about her this morning.
Rebecca?
Beatrice is at home eating spaghetti.
I know it. She better have me a plate ready when I get home.
You don't like it.
Yeah, I don't. You know me too well, Dorothy. What were you saying?
I get the concept of that, like the whole, the female not paying and the man paying for everything because they're only dating. But it's like in reality, in today's time, everybody struggles.
Huh.
I mean,
Should you be dating if you're struggling?
That's a good question.
For a male. Well, I mean, you know, because he can only, no, he can't only date a female.
I mean, it's like, I get the concept of all that. Like, you don't want to pay, or she doesn't feel she should be paying because she's a female, and so she's looked at as a weaker sex, and, so a man should take care of everything. True. But at the same time, it's like, that's how, like, now you want to be the weaker sex when it comes to finances.
Okay. All right.
But
Yeah.
Now you want to be weak.
Yeah.
But let something else happen, and I'm this, and I'm my own arm, and I don't need no man.
Let that energy flow.
Yeah.
Keep that same energy.
Like if that's how you're gonna think.
Yeah.
Then think that way at all times, and not just like
be consistent.
Yeah.
In your independence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you get a flat tire,
Yeah. No. You strong. You a strong black woman. Don't nobody do nothing for you. Yeah.
And like to me though, like no shade, like but that be the main ones who be screaming that I'm not paying for this, he gonna pay for it. Like those type of people.
Yeah.
Cause like I think at the end of the day, a real relationship, like he or she, they're not gonna have an issue. Like we in a true, honest relationship, and we real, ain't got nothing else going on the side.
Right.
I got no problem giving my man $40.
That's the difference. That's the difference, and I don't think a lot of people look at that. Right. Beatrice, I love what you've done with the place. The place is amazing. I've got to tell you. And then please give my regards to Rebecca. The last time we were here, she was the most gracious host. She didn't even look like what she wore.
Rebecca died.
Huh?
Rebecca died.
Damn. Because she was terrible. I'm glad God got rid of her, because could no man take her. And I tried to give it to her. Damn. Listen, she died in the bathroom. Why is she still in there? What y'all got going on here? Did you kill her? I wanted to share this though. You are absolutely right. The crazy thing about it is that like we require people to keep consistency, but we're not consistent with what we want. What 1 minute we want somebody to be consistent, the next minute we want them to be a chameleon. The next minute I want you to be a drug dealer, and then right. on when it's time for church, I want you to be the preacher, deacon, the church boy in the back, and then I want you to be the children's
children's church teacher.
I'm just which one you want me to be? And so when you get home and he comes out of pocket, don't act like you know where it come from. You poured all that into him, and now he get to the house and don't know what to do. And people are trying to find out, why do people cheat? Here's why folk cheat. Not because you're not good enough, but because you don't think they are. And when you put a man in that position, when you put a female in that position, that she'll act out, not because she don't love you, because she don't feel like she's enough for you. It's not because he's desperate. It's because he's desperate trying to please you and don't know what you want, desperately asking you, like, what do you want from me? And it changes. It changes if we learn consistency, one, at home. Are you happy with who you home with? Yeah. Then consistency, everything else will flow. But that starts off with being subjective. That starts off with being submissive. That starts off with being under the submission of God's sanctity, of what this relationship is supposed to be. If we're in this for love, then I go in it not hurt. I don't go in it wounded. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? Now, I can go into it healing. But you have to relay those things. Hey, I'm hurt. That may sound crazy, and you may run, but I gotta tell you that I'm hurt. And I hope you stay alone for the process, but I'm only sharing it with you because I don't want to hurt you in my healing. Right? And then whatever you deal with, I pray that you leave it before we enter this. Now, we both can go in here healing. And I understand like that the wound may open every once in a while. I'm letting you know so that you can bandage it, or I can first aid on you. Mm-hmm. It's not for me to cut you deeper, right? And you got to know that some people, you can't expose every wound to. That there's some cuts you got to keep on the inside until you heal up enough to know them, whether they are a healer or a killer. Mm-hmm. If everybody isn't able to touch you, speak to you, to be around you, to lay in a bed with you, to raise your kids, to cook for you, if everybody isn't a healer, that there's some people who have thick thighs, right? There's some people who will be athletic build. There's some people who will work out and work you the hell out. And they'll be in there telling you all these things you want to hear to get in the door. Yeah. And once they get there, you'll live like you are on a Lifetime show, trying to find out who did I marry? Because you've married a stranger. Not because you didn't ask the right questions, but because you weren't exposed to the right wounds, the right scars. Yeah. And if you're healing, let's heal. If you're hurt, let's face it, let's deal with it, let's get over it, right? But you said keep that same energy. Yeah. We're talking about when can you be vulnerable and that be okay just to be vulnerable, mm-hmm. Right? And I know we've had this struggle. I think it's difficult being vulnerable when you may have tried before and it was undervalued. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. When you try to share and I cut you off, like, nope. Or I express it and get no response to it. It's like it puts you in a mode to be like, well, don't nobody care. Yeah. Or like the last time I tried, it was shot down. So like, I'm not going to share again. And that creates suppression on the inside, which turns into eternal or long-term resentment. It's not that I hate you. I just hate sharing with you. Mm-hmm. We got to deal with those things. And keep that same energy. Same energy. You said it yesterday. Same energy that we came in with. Mm-hmm. God, help us maintain it. Mm-hmm. Help us keep it. Now that's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. And then, I'm sorry, I'm just running. I'm trying to keep my thoughts together before you go on to the next thing, babe. Yesterday, you asked a question about keeping the romance, right? About finding it again, about getting it back, keeping it in a relationship. And I realized my answer, I think, was right to an extent, but my answer wasn't loving to an extent. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
If it's contingent, it's not love. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not. Regardless of how I feel. Regardless of how I feel, I'm not ever called to lord over. I'm not called to protect. I'm not called to be head of. I'm called to be a servant, to show love. Anything beyond that, I'm out of position. So it's not ever going to sound right if I'm out of position. I think the man's job, the wife's job, our job as servants of believers, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just to show love. You may have just made me feel bad. My job is to show love. I may be having the worst day, may have encountered the worst fight. My job is to show love. That's difficult. When you don't feel it. You feel like you've been stepped on. You feel like you've been hurt. And you look at the four Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, our example in every single one of them. They slapped him. He turned the other cheek and said, do the same thing. Betrayed him. He sat at the table with him, fed him. They drank from his cup. They left him, said they didn't know him. They hung him, crucified him. Nobody came to check on him. They left him in a tomb on the day he's supposed to rise. And he gets up and says, Father, forgive him. If that's not example of service, that I'm only here to show us love. Anything else disrupts the character, which distorts my witness. And if you can't witness to your wife, there ain't no point in trying to preach to the world. So I'm daily in conviction where God is making me feel not bad, but just convicted. You preach it, but do you live it? Do you show it? So my answer was wrong. Because it comes from a selfish place. Place like, well, if you don't, then I won't. But that's not love, right? Because love has no contingency. It's unconditional. There's no conditions to it.
It's like we say, at the end of the day, like not every day is sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah.
But it's like on those difficult days, like you still have to show up.
Yeah.
Show love.
If it's raining for me, I don't have to be the cloud on your sunshine.
Yeah.
We have to stop being toxic, right? And being able to say that, like, I'm toxic in a way that's just like, you know what? I've been toxic. These past few weeks or months or whatever, I've been toxic and I didn't even know it. And if you don't know it, you won't ever grow from it. Where God can't ever touch it and heal it. Where God can't repair it, you'll just be spoiled and rotten. But I don't want to be spoiled and rotten. I don't ever want to get too sweet that I'm unobtainable. I can't be handled, right?